Good morning, everybody. Painblade back here again from Server 1, representing Icene Tribes Lab. Guys, today we're going to do a frequently asked questions guide. This is something that I get asked a lot through DMs, or, a lot of people ask the questions in the main Discord, and a lot of people are also not getting the answers they're looking for. So I decided to take the time today to kind of go through a few things that are asked often, and maybe this video will help a lot of people out, whether you're veterans or you're new players. I want to answer some of these questions that have been kind of bothering a lot of people. And go through some of the terminology in the game, and kind of explain to you guys the best way to approach some of these questions that you guys are asking. So the first thing I want to do, guys, is go through power. So a lot of people ask, what's the best way to gain power in my Shinobis? So I want to talk about the various ways to get power and how to increase your team power overall. Okay, so we're going to go into the Shinobi list, and we're going to go through some of the obvious ones first. All right, we're gonna choose a character. Let's just pick Sasuke Kirin here. Black costume or heavy. So the first foremost way to gain power is, of course, awakening your Shinobi, right? And by awakening, you need to do a few things. You need to either farm fragments, such as this, through events, or through raids, or summon. Or the other way to do it is through farming them through elite missions, right? So SRs and rares can all be farmed through elite missions and through joint exercises, right? And raids. URs, on the other hand, can only be farmed through events and JEs, which is the joint exercises, right? So, like, for example, today, if we go back here, let's go back a couple seconds, go to events. So right over here under the joint exercises, there's always a UR that is represented in this daily. So today was Jiraiya. You gain a team, you farm three of him, and if all three people do it, you get 4 fragments of that Shinobi daily, right? And then it changes every day usually. The other way, again, is doing a raid. So if you go into events and go into a raid, it's the Sanin today. So again, Jiraiya is a possibility as a UR to be dropped if you just do the fight, right? And then the other one, of course, is doing your Ninja Arena up to 10 matches to get your Omni Fragments. And if you have Blessing 15, you get a free Omni Fragment that way as well. Or the events that are going on. So for example, the Flashback Genealogy, which is dropping UR frags, as well as the Specialty Banner Characters frags. So that's some of the ways to get the Awakening fragments for your UR Shinobi. SR Shinobi you can farm through elite missions as well, as mentioned. And Rs you can do the same thing. Okay? So that's the first way to actually gain power through your characters. The second way is by leveling up your skills and promoting, right? So every time you tier up, right now the max tier is 15, you gain stats increase all over the board. You gain speed increase, attack, defense, and HP. So that's one of the best ways to also tier up, okay? And then they introduce limit break, of course. So some Shinobis have 1 limit break, some have 2. That's another way to do it. Now, limit breaks do require fragments, character fragments, as well as weapon fragments if you get the limit break too. So there is a spreadsheet that everybody should know about at this point. It's always connected to my description page. Look at it. You can see the amount of fragments required and each type or each rarity's requirement to get their LB, which is limit break, and also how much each LB gives you stats wise. Okay, so that's all in that spreadsheet, guys. So please use that spreadsheet. It's available to you. So tiering up is the other way. Now, or it's called promotion, sorry. Now, the other one, of course, is skills. Now, a lot of questions people ask is, what do I skill up and how far do I skill? Now, the biggest power and skills are always going to come from your main jutsu, your second, your fourth skill, and your damage increase and damage decrease. The third one, it depends. If you are a UR, you get a ton of power from that. If you are an SR, you get a little bit. As an R, you almost get none, right? So the rule of thumb, if you're a whale, max everything. If you're free to play, 65 probably is good enough. If you can push more eventually with the Ryo you have, then go max, of course, right? So that is another great way to increase your power. Now, gear, of course, is a very obvious one. Now, here's the thing with gear. The first 2 are mandatory. Get them to at least minimum for free to play to level 55. For whales, maximize them. Now, the rule of thumb is these 2 give full power, these 2 give half of what these 2 give. So the first 2 give full, the third and fourth only give half of what the first 2 give. So, with that being said, these are not necessities, guys, if you're not doing max min for stats, right? Which means if you're not maximizing or minimizing your stats. So if you're looking as a free-to-play player, you can probably get these to about 45 and stop, and these you can probably get to about 55 and stop, and you should be sufficient for a while until you have enough Ryo to max them out, and if you have enough fragment stones to max them out. So this is another great way. Now, awakening pushes the boundaries even further. Now, awakening is a lot more difficult, right? For URs, for example, in SRs and Rs, you need to buy their weapons from the store. The URs, you can't buy them. You have to get them through gold or rainbow drops, and you need 100 of those. So that isn't really the hard part. The hardest part is getting these awakening orbs. There's only a few ways to get these at the moment. There is two, I think one in Arena right now that you can get through total point accumulation. There is a weekly one you can get from NWT, which is the Ninja World Tournament, if you're S rank only, right? Or you can buy them through blessing packages, which whales will do, free to play will not, right? So very difficult to come by. And then there are events that actually will drop them, like the Naruto one, for example, the free UR Naruto had them. So this is another way to maximize. And these are the most efficient ways to get the power up, but also the hardest ways, right? So as you can see here, the attack boost is quite a bit, and the damage increase rate is by percentage, and it's a big percentage. So very, very important to get the weapon up, and also if you're looking for survivability, get the gear up. And as you notice, the more stars you go up, the more of these are required, and they are the hardest commodity in the game to get because there's no way just to get them. All right. Next one, scrolls and talismans. Now, these are unique to a lot of people. People don't understand how to use them. So the way it works, guys, is you can buy yourself scrolls and talismans from the Arena shop and the Tower of Eternity shop. Okay. So you buy the scrolls from Arena with using Arena coins, and talismans for using Tower of Eternity points. So the rule of thumb for me is you get them to 35, and then after 35, you don't use your Arena coins and TOE coins any longer. You save those, and you start buying the scrolls from Orochimaru when you pop them. Now, Orochimaru, let's go back, I think I have them up right now, sells these in two ways. He has them through currency here with Ryo. You can buy scrolls and talismans there, always the blue ones, and he also sells the purple ones either using Shino coins or for 150k for them. So it's random which one he sells, but he does sell them for Ryo. So for going forward, guys, after 35, you should buy them here and save your coins to actually level up the scrolls and talismans, because it starts taking quite a bit after that point, and also using your frogs or arena points to buy your frogs in order to trade for Ryo to buy the Orochimaru stuff. So after 35, guys, the rule of thumb for me personally is to start buying from Orochimaru shop and using my arena coins to buy Ryo, and to use it to level up the scrolls and talismans. Now, scrolls and talismans, like gear, can also be ranked up, right? So you can awaken them. As you can see here, I can do that if I had one awakening scroll. And it is quite a bit of a change in stats. It's percentage for HP or percentage for attack. Now, weapon is better because it's a flat damage increase, but attack is also very useful. So if you have them, definitely on your main Shinobis that you want to use, you awaken their scrolls. Okay, and lastly, for the stats purposes, vitality. There's only one vitality that will increase your power, and that's vitality 20, which increases your HP. So that is the other way. Once you hit 72, I believe, 72. It's tier 15. Once you hit tier 15, which I think is 70 actually, you can go ahead and level this to 20, and it'll actually boost your power as well. Okay, so that's the only vitality that actually boosts power. The other ones are very useful still, but that's the only one that'll actually affect your power on paper. Now, a couple other ways to do it. There are, of course, if you go to teams, there is Gama Prayer, which is huge, guys. If you're free to play especially, this is massive for you. As you can see, mine are very underdeveloped, but these give insane stats. So highly recommend use the times 10 Ryo summons, or use your tournament coins if you're not leveling your tribes to buy these and level them up as much as possible. You can either do pray times 10 or pray once. There's really no efficient way in my opinion. Some people would say pray times 10 is way better. I found the opposite, so I do the singles, but it's up to you. But definitely, guys, get these up. Now, which one should you get up first? The first one is huge. Damage increase rate and critical damage increase rate are flat damage boosts to your overall Shinobi damage. So that is one of the first one you should focus on is that. The second one is actually this one here, which is also huge because it's a damage reduction rate by guarding and a flat damage reduction rate. So those two are mandatory in my opinion, okay? The next one, though, is up to you. You can either get your critical rate up, which obviously a lot of nukes require, or if you're using a lot of tanking groups, you can get this one up instead, which gives you guard rate and critical suppression rate, which means you'll take less crits from the opponents and your guard rate will increase. So it all depends how you want to do this, right? If you're more tanky build, you build the last one. If you're more DPS build, you build the third one. But the first two are hands down mandatory. Get those up, okay? So that is another way to get your power up. And then, of course, the shrines here. I personally would buy the Shino coin ones first because they give the most stats. And then save your Ryo for these ones once you have nothing else to buy, which will probably never happen, or if you have an abundance of them. But for each one of these, definitely buy the Shino coin ones, guys. They're definitely worth it, and they do a massive power boost. So definitely put some of those Shino coins into that. Don't worry about summoning. Actually get these out of the way because they will boost your power drastically. Okay? And then, of course, the last one is this training section. There is a guide that I already have for these training sections for FTPs, so look at that. But definitely max out the first one. I would start off with yellow, which is energy. Get that maxed out, and then do spirit, and then force. That's my opinion on how you should do it. But you can go whichever way you think is best, but for sure, energy should always be your first. At least get speed boost maxed, and then you can focus on defense after the fact. But this will definitely increase your power quite drastically. Now, when you get to the second tier, this one will definitely boost your power. These three will boost your power, but the other ones going forward will not. They're just percentages that you'll see behind the scenes. Okay, so this you won't see on paper power, but you will see it overall in the game. It'll affect it. So that is the last way, guys, to get your power. So those are all the ways to get power up. Okay, so next question: which UR do I rank to 4-star first? This is probably the most common question. So the first UR you're going to rank up first is Gara. Gara to 4-star is unbelievably good. Probably the best in the game. He does guard rate up for everybody. So let's actually go through it. His LB2, he gives defense up to active allies. So Gara for sure is your main guy to get to rank 4. So let's go to his skills. There we go. So as you can see here, he does damage reduction rate by 26.8% to all active allies, and also does guard rate for all active allies and boosts all active allies 17.19% for defense. Now, I'm going to explain to you terminology here, guys, okay? Active allies means any 3 allies on the same rotation, doesn't matter what cell they're in, so they could be yellow, blue, and red, but as long as they're active, which means they're not stunned, they're not paralyzed, etc., they will get this buff. These buffs, sorry, right? All allies means anybody in your entire roster or entire team gets the buff until this Shinobi that gives the buff is out of rotation. So Mama Sakura, for example, gives everybody all allies attack up. Now, once she's off that rotation, that buff disappears. Now, the reason why it's important is because active allies only affect people who are not stunned. All allies, even if the person is stunned, will get the buff. So people like Karin, who heal, for example, even when she's buffed, will still get the attack power up as all allies, and her heal will do more. But if she was an active ally buff, she would not get it because she's not active, she's stunned, right? So that's the difference. Now, rest of battle buffs are the most important ones. Those ones last whether your Shinobi is available in the rotation or not. Rest of battle is the highest tier of buff that you want to see, right? So for example, a lot of characters like B will get attack of rest of battle, which means he'll continuously stack that for the rest of the battle and will not lose it, right? Whether he's out of the rotation or not. What else is there? There is 3-man cell, of course, will only affect the 3 men in your cell, not active allies. So if you don't have all reds and your buff is only 3-man cell and the blue pops up because somebody died in red, it won't affect the blue, it'll only affect the reds. So that's the lowest tier of buff, okay? Then of course there's self buffs, which only affect you and you only. So again, the tier for buffs, guys, goes allies, all allies, rest of battle, the highest and the best one, then all allies, then active allies, then 3-man cell, and then self buffs. Okay, so I hope that explains that. So back to which you are. So Gara first, Sasuke Kirin second. Okay, and the reason why Sasuke Black Costume Kirin is so important is because he increases your attack power and your damage increase rate with his LB2. So Kirin second. Deidara third, because he gives all allies critical damage up for the rest of the battle by 20.8%, which is huge. And nobody else does that. Sasuke Heavy, because he increases his attack and chakra every time somebody dies, but his LB2 is the real cake there. He increases damage increase rate every turn, which is massive, so that's why him next. And then lastly, Kakashi, which increases his critical damage and critical rate after he does a special jutsu. His critical damage is through his LB2. So it's Gaara, Sasuke, Kirin, aka Black Costume, Dadara, Heavy, Kakashi. That's the order, okay? Now, another big one that people ask about is speed. I'm not going to talk about speed here because I have a whole speed video. My recommendation, guys, go watch it. It's the full breakdown of how speed works and how to distribute it. Fourth, vitality. What do I level? The spreadsheet has every single Shinobi and their vitality, and I have actually put what my recommendation is for each one of them. So level 0, 10, or 20. It's on the spreadsheet, guys. I've also done a video about it. Check out the video. I'm not going to go through it. Okay? Scrolls and talismans we've covered. Best SRs in the game, Mama Sakura for T units. A units, there's quite a few. Boruto is amazing. You've got Naruto SR, which is amazing. You've got a ton. So for rares, Kiba. So A units, there's a plethora of them to choose from, guys. So there's really no reason to go over the A units. You know who they are. For D units, though, Sugetsu, if you're looking for a pure tank in terms of mini Gaara style, especially with his Limit Break 2, and Orochimaru are probably the two best D units in the game. Okay? And then, of course, the terminology we went over. I explained to you the difference between, all active allies, all allies, rest of battle, etc. The biggest thing I will say, though, guys, for stats, I have a stats video out. Definitely go watch that. I actually go through the entire stats sheet here and explain to you what each one does, so you'll have a better understanding. So my recommendation, go check that out. Well, that's it for now, guys. I hope this video helped out. If you have any further questions, you know how to get a hold of me through here, the comment section, Discord, Reddit. But I'm always available, and I will get back to you when I can with the information you're looking for, if I do know it. If not, we have Tribes Lab, and we have the main Discord, of course, that you guys should be joining in order to get more information anyways from the community. Anyways, this is Payne, guys. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon.